Welcome everyone back to Shadow Productions. Thank you for visiting my channel. In this video, I'm basically just going to do a compilation of all the videos that I've been doing over the past year with low cost motion capture using the HTC Vive and the Kinect. In my previous videos, I've went through Ikinima Orion, I went through Breckle Open VR, and I went through iPadSoft motion capture using the Kinect version 2 or the Kinect 1 for the Xbox. In this video, I'm just going to import the animations from the recordings that I did for you can get a comparison between the output data that you will receive from these various programs. It's one thing to see the animation in each respective program, but it's another thing once you export the data and you take it into your animation program of choice. The animation program that I'm using is Autodesk Maya. So things will look differently. I know once when I was using iPadSoft, like the one thing I found out about is with the spine is when I went over the iPadSoft video, how I didn't like the spine animation. I really didn't notice it when I was looking at it within iPadSoft, but once I exported the data and I put the animation into Maya, I really started to notice the spine more. So it's better to don't judge the program just by what you see recorded on that screen. Even with perception neuron, I don't have that, so I can't go over perception neuron. But even with that, the data that you see within their program may look vastly different once you export it. So basically, that's what I'm going to go over now. Just to make sure I have everything up that I need, I'm going to put the humanoid tab open. And first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to import the Ikinema Orion animation. I'm just going to give that a little bit of time to import. I'm going to pause the video for a moment and let it load up, and when I come back, not come back once everything loads up. Okay, I'm back everyone. The importing has completed, and here's my Ikinema Orion rig, or the motion capture data from that. Make sure this is set to 30 frames a second. And I'm just going to fill the timeline with the animation. Okay, I'm just setting the playback range for this, for the length of the animation. And as you see, it doesn't come in at its default, at a default T-pose. I guess this is basically the T-pose that I was in when I was recording Ikinema Orion. And as you can see with Maya, it doesn't come in characterized already. So there's no HIK data to transfer the animation to your own personal character once you import it. So this is my first time opening these files since I first recorded them. So it's been a while since I looked at them, so I'm not quite sure what's on them exactly. But I think I can just set it to its default position. If I go to rigging and go to skeleton and assume preferred angle, okay, and it goes into its T-pose. From that point, if you know Maya or any other animation program that you use and you know how to transfer data from motion capture animation to your own character, to your personal character, then you will proceed there. There's a lot of tutorials on how to characterize motion data in Maya, but I'm going to just go over it real quickly. I'm going to go in and create new character definitions, and I'll make sure the mirror matching is on, just in case they're properly named. Left up leg, right up leg. So basically when I select the left or the right leg, it'll select the mirror option to help the selection process go faster. So basically I'm just double click on the hip joint in the characterization and select the hip joint within the Ikinema Orion rig. And then I just go with the legs, and as you can see, it mirrors across and it selects the right leg when I do the left. And just go down each one. The foot, left toe, then the spine. Cancel, that's actually the hip. Spine 2. Spine 3 would be the chest. And then the neck joint. And what is this? This is a neck joint as well. And this would be the head joint. I believe that would be the head joint, yeah. And this is the head end, but it doesn't have a selector for that. And then just keep going through until you finish your selection. There are no roll joints within this rig, so you won't need those options. And the hand for the wrist. And if you go in, you can see their fingers, but Ikinema Orion doesn't come in with any finger animation. So that's another thing to note. I know I said in the Breckle OpenVR recording that on the controllers you can map the buttons to whatever you want your character to do. So like you can press the left or right trigger on the motion controllers, and you can map that to open or close fist. I don't see that Ikinema Orion comes with that option. I don't see any blend shapes or any kind of controllers or anything like that. So you can see there's no shapes or anything whatsoever in here. So it doesn't come with those options like Breckle does. So that's something to note. And I'm going to go ahead and just rename this character as Ikinema. And then I'm going to lock that down. And I'm going to go ahead and save this for right now. The Ikinema Orion mocap, and I'm going to go ahead and just save that. And then I'm going to set the playback speed to real time, and I'm just going to give you a quick preview of the motion capture data. Now, as you can see, it's kind of hard to tell what's going on with just the skeleton joints there. So I'm going to go ahead and import a character. My Make Human rig that I had from a while back. I pretty much just use the Make Human rig just as a dummy right now. Yeah. So basically I just use it as a dummy to test my motion capture data on before I apply it to my actual character that I want to rig it to. As you can see, I already have my Make Human rig defined, so I can easily just add the motion capture data from Ikinema to my Make Human rig. So from the drop down menu, make sure the character is Make Human, and the source I would use the Ikinema animation. And I'm gonna just hide the skeleton. And then I can go ahead and play the animation from there. So now you can see the animation that came from Ikinema Orion. The first thing I noticed is the head has always pointing up. This is the result of me wearing the headset on the top of my head instead of over my eyes. because of this, it continuously thinks that my head is, that I'm looking up instead of looking straight. So I would have to offset that animation. I'm going to pause the video right now, and I'm going to bake the animation to my make human character so I can show you the offsets for like the little cleanup that I can do. So basically just make sure all those controllers are in. Bake controllers. I'm just going to reset everything to make sure it's at its default setting, and I'm gonna go ahead and bake this, and I'm gonna pause the video while it bakes, and I'll be back once it completes. Okay, looks like the baking is done, and as you can see, the Make Human rig has all of its controllers set, so I can select that and just do any type of animation that I want to do with that, and make sure this is on full body, but I don't really need that since it's already baked. Hide the controllers, and I can just go ahead and play, and it's playing on its own without the motion capture data from the Ikinima Orion rig. And the first thing I could do, like just to clean this up within Maya, is I can create an offset layer. I don't know how you would do this in any other program like Blender or 3ds Max or any other Cinema 4D. I believe you can do animation in there. I'm not sure how you would do it there because I primarily just use Maya. But I can just go ahead and set an offset animation and pull his head down to where it needs to be, and just create a keyframe on this layer. And with the keyframe on that layer, his head will be offset to start in the correct position. So here I'm just testing the range of motion with the with Ikinema. Waving my hands, you can see the elbows are bending good. There's a little bit of twitch here and there, so there will be some cleanup that would need to be done afterwards. You see the slope in the shoulders, so that's good. So I believe when I was doing Ikinema, I only had, how many trackers did I have? I had one for each foot, one for the hip, each controller, and the headset. So it's 6 total. So there was no tracker on my chest at the time, but it's giving me good spine animation. You see there is penetration through the skin. I will go ahead and address that. The thing with motion capture is it's based off of proportions. The person who's recording the animation has different body proportions than the character that you create. So there will always be penetration, even with the most high price animation and motion capture software. You will always have penetration between the person who recorded the animation and the character that you place it on. So you will always have to make offsets to fit the character which the animation is intended for. Usually big price studios, sometimes what they would do is they would put they would wear body costumes to match the character in which the animation is made for. That way it would help with the penetration and the acting within the motion capture. Because better, like if you would get the Blu-ray of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie, the new one that came out, the Michael Bay one, you can see that sometimes that they're wearing full costumes that kind of match the body size of the turtles that they're animating for, and that way it can, when they grab things, when they do certain fight sequences, it matches the character which it goes to, and they won't have to go back and do so much cleanup afterwards. You can see here I'm doing some hand clapping. I think one thing I was saying about that is with Ikinema and iPadSoft with the you're using the Kinects and you're using depth cameras, there's a lot of oscillation, I believe the word is, but where it's blocking, so if the camera can't see certain parts of your body, it doesn't capture the animation good. But using the trackers, you don't have to worry about that, and you can do more extreme poses that you couldn't do with iPadSoft. I'm gonna just go back and just show that the bend, like how I'm bending. Again, I don't have that many trackers with Ikinema Orion. I only have a tracker on my hip and the head tracker that's on my head. And you can see I have a good S-spine bend. I have a good bend in my spine in that pose. You can do that with iPadSoft. I've shown in the previous videos that I didn't like how the spine was being animated in iPadSoft. It gave me a weird curve even when I was standing up straight. And when using Ikinema and using HTC Vive, it's a natural pose. It's the same pose basically that when I started in my it's the same curve that the character starts with that was modeled. So it's not an extra bend that makes you look like you're sticking your chest out and your butt is sticking out and it just looks weird and it's hard to clean up. I really don't like that with iPadSoft, and I'm really happy and pleased with the animation that comes with using the HTC Vive. And again, I'm just showing how I can get close to my body. The elbows and knees are tracking good, even though I don't have trackers for those. And another plus for Ikinema Orion, because with Breckle, it's a little bit different since it doesn't actually have skeleton information. So you would have to kind of rig it the way you would need to get those good animations within the elbows and knees. But with Ikinema, their algorithm that they're using is pretty good and comes pretty close to having a full body motion capture with a limited amount of trackers. I'm just scrolling through just to show you the animation because it's pretty long. Basically, this animation was when I was going over Ikinema Orion and I was explaining everything that was going on in there. And right here, if I remember correctly, this is the part where the tracker on my hip was starting to pull away. There's a little bit of a hiccup with Vive with the tracker sometimes drifting away. At the time, I thought it may have something to do with the heater that I had in the garage that I had at the time. But the more that I did research on it, it's just a weird anomaly. I'm not sure if it's something that needs to be fixed with an update or what it could have possibly been. I'm not really sure. But that could easily be fixed as well. Just like I did with the head, I can just select the hip. But it'll take a little bit more than that because the body is so far off. So I'll probably just lock the hip and move the... Yeah, it'll require a little bit more cleanup than that I can just show right now. I have to kind of plan that part out. If I was using this for production, I would probably just reshoot this part of the animation because it's not worth cleaning up when I can just throw the trackers back on and just redo that part again. Setup is not really that hard, especially if you have a dedicated space where you can just leave your base stations hooked up to where you can just walk in, put on your trackers and go. So that's pretty much Ikinema Orion. I do want to show you the part with the foot because a lot of people want to know about walk cycles and foot rotation and things like that because people do that a lot. As you can see there, like with the bend, like I'm not really sure how that happened, but again, there's not trackers on the knees, so the bending is random. It doesn't flip around, but you can't predict where the knees would go. So it would be better if you get more trackers. The more trackers you have, the better animation you would get. But even without the trackers, you can easily offset that and just put the knees where they need to be. So basically I would go like before I start bending. and put a keyframe here and wait till the animation ends. Put a keyframe there. And then go to the very end of the pose where you need to correct it and just straighten up the knees. Actually, probably don't need to straighten out that knee, just this one. And set a keyframe there. And there's some wobble in the hip area, so I would need to do some filtering and take that in Motion Builder or something like that and clean up the animation to get rid of all the jittering. You would have jittering with any motion capture suite. You would have jittering with iPadSoft, a lot of jittering. You have jittering with Breckle, with Ikinima Orion, even with Perception Neuron. I think there's another one on Roku, I believe. I'm not 100% sure on the name on that, but that's a pretty quick view on Ikinema Orion. I'm going to pause the video, and when I come back, I'm gonna go over. I'm gonna import Breckle OpenVR, the data I got from that, for you can see how that turned out. You can see the knee bend was good. Trying to find that foot rotation part. Okay, there it is. So you can see there's good on knee bends, and the foot rotation is good on there with the tracker on my foot. So you can get pretty good animation out of here. You just have to plan your animations. Be wary of the drifting of the trackers. It's easily fixable. You can either spend the time cleaning up that, or you can just go back and re-record it. It's not a big deal. It's better than what iPadSoft from previous versions, where you do so much cleaning in iPadSoft that the animation is not exactly what you recorded. For example, you see how low that I bent with Ikinema Orion. If this was iPadSoft, after so much cleaning and filtering, that bend would not be that far down. It will probably be more up here than what it originally was. And it changes, iPadSoft changes the animation so much with so much cleaning that you have to do to get rid of all the jittering. If you're doing slow movements in iPadSoft, you can really notice the shaking and the jittering within your skeleton rig. Now, this was with previous versions. I'm not sure if the same is true for the current version. I haven't imported that information yet. So once I import iPadSoft in Maya, you can see the data that you get from that. But I'm gonna go ahead and save this for now. And I'm going to pause the video, and when I come back, I'm going to go ahead and import Breckle OpenVR, and we'll go over that. Thank you.